Babysitting business. With most parents today opting to go back to work full-time, there is a need to find reliable and reputable childcare help. There are many establishments that offer such services, but a discerning parent would wisely research the center before actually making a commitment to send his or her child there. Places that offer childcare help, which encompasses the essence of safety, health, promotions of physical, emotional and cognitive skill, should be seriously considered as a requirement and a necessity and not just an advantage. Chapter 1, Childcare Basics. The following are some of the factors that one should be aware when it comes to the topic of childcare basics. The basics. Ideally, childcare establishments should be able to facilitate suitable social development platforms. Having programs in place as part of the daily routines is something that should be included, so create learning curves for the children. Learning how to interact, be friendly and learning how to share are all elements that would be constantly reinforced within the boundaries of the childcare philosophy. Intellectual skills should also be nurtured at such centers, as the child would spend the better part of their daily life at such a facility. The requirement for this style of nurturing should be given optimum focus with the relevant guidelines in place for all such facilities to follow. Most childcare facilities are governed by a set number of rules in the area of providing suitable intellectual stimulation. Elements of some form of regimented physical activity should also be incorporated into the daily schedule of a childcare center. The physical activity plan should take into account the physical capabilities of the participants, and all supporting tools should be available should there be an occurrence of mishaps. Physical activity is very important to ensure the suitable and healthy growth rate of a child, thus the importance of its inclusion in the childcare system. Chapter 2, Type of Center. Providing for childcare does not simply mean finding a center to dump a child in for a stipulated period of time. As in most cases, this time frame a child is left at the childcare facility is rather significant. There needs to be some serious thought and requirements studied in order to identify the type most suited to the needs of both the parents and the child in question, where there are three major categories of childcare types that cater to the various needs of the children and parents seeking such assistance. The following is an overview of these categories. Childcare center. Basically, this facility will provide the basic structured program recommended by governing bodies within a licensed environment. It is popularly noted for its reasonable and often cheaper price. The child will also be exposed to a variety of very diverse cultural and socio-economic group of kids, which will eventually contribute to a child who is able to feel accepted and comfortable with such diversity. The flexibility of the schedules provided is also another plus point to consider. The disadvantage here is usually centered on the exposure of the child to illnesses and bad habits from the other children at the center. There is also the possibility of not having consistent and individualized attention. Family childcare home. This type of facility usually cater to a smaller group of children where better ration of individualized attention is evident. There is also age factor that is usually varying in nature, thus teaching the children how to adapt to others of different ages, wants and needs. Being within a home setting, the environment is usually more comfortable and welcoming. The disadvantages would be the possibility of the prime caregiver being unable to perform the duties due to illness or other emergencies. It may also sometimes be difficult to monitor the quality of the care given to the children. Chapter 3, Training and Certification. If an individual is considering venturing into the childcare venture as a business entity, there should be some training and certification points that should be considered. Without these elements, getting the supporting documentations that would help to legitimize the establishment would be difficult indeed. Training. The following are some tips on the training and certification platforms. Part of the training would require the individual to be able to simulate the part of a teacher, mentor and caregiver all rolled into one. The training will usually allow the individual to learn both about their own capabilities and how they react to situations, as well as how to deal with varied ages of children and their corresponding responses and behavioral patterns. Training modules are given on physical, mental and motor skills development, and the exercises are both mentally challenging and physically so. This is to equip the individual to be able to deal with all types of character children. Learning how to meet the physical, emotional, and intellectual needs of the children is usually explored through the training sessions. The certification of such expertise would also be sought by potential parents who visit the center to check its suitability for the children. therefore getting the relevant training from reputable agencies that are government-sanctioned would be wise. These certifications presented to the potential parents should also include licenses for the premises. License to actually run the particular type of business, licenses that show certified staff are being employed, and any other supporting legalized documents that prove the legitimacy of the childcare center. If the center is specialized in nature, where it caters to a specific niche, then here too the relevant certifications should be in place. These may include the specialized training needed to cater to the niche and the specialized equipment needed to facilitate the comfortable accommodation of the child. Chapter 4, Legal Requirements. As in every business entity, there are always some legal issues that require consideration and adherence. Therefore, in the effort to ensure the childcare establishment is legal on all fronts, there is a need to ensure the relevant aspects have been designed according to the laws set. The following are some of the areas that are usually addressed for its legal requirements and adherence. Child supervision. There are strict rules in place when it comes to the ratio provided for under the law for the child to adult safely issues. Legally, an individual that is 16 years or older can act as a caregiver in a childcare environment. However, the prime caregiver should be of a legal adult age, which is 18 years, as it clearly stipulates that no child is to be left alone at any given time. There is also a need to ensure the adequate amount of caregivers are available with the corresponding children at the center. Nutrition. There are also laws governing the foods that are required to be served at such establishments. The foods have to cover all nutritional groups and have to be hygienically prepared at all times. Proper work areas for the food preparations have to be in place, supported by the necessary equipment. Child abuse. One of the most high priority concerns of the prospective parent is the element of child treatment that may constitute abuse. The parents would be keen on finding out the various disciplinary actions that the center uses to keep the children under control. If these measures are found to be within the guidelines provided for by law, then there would be no cause for concern related to the child abuse issue. Safety concerns. Here too there is always a set of laws that strictly govern this area. These laws would cover all aspects of the center, from the legitimacy of the childcare staff to the legitimacy of the building structure. These are usually periodically inspected by the relevant governing bodies. Chapter 5, Health and Safety Issues. For most parents looking for a suitable childcare center, one of the main elements that they would consider is the health and safety measure in place. These measures taken would be the same ones extended to the children should there be an unfortunate occurrence of mishaps. Safety. The following are the areas usually focused upon in terms of health and safety issues. The health and safety policies in place should clearly stipulate the specific responsibilities of each individual caregiver should a mishap occur. This should also include the procedures each individual caregiver would be responsible for. Some establishments, in the quest to be as professional as possible, actually conduct periodic drills to acclimatize both children and adults alike to simulate the actual mishaps. In the event of an accident, the relevant procedures should also be clearly outlined and followed. These outlines may include the prevention and reporting stages, the facility of having a record book to document the accidents for the perusal of the parents, reader, and of course the very important first aid box. Electronic safety measure. Because children are naturally inquisitive, there is a need to take extra care when it comes to the electronic equipment used around the center. Keeping all appliances out the reach of children is of course the most basic requirement. And failing to adhere to this would certainly invite trouble. Explaining to the children the dangers of playing or touching such electronic equipment is also something that should be actively done as often as needed. Fire precautions. Fire drill are something that should be explained and thoroughly understood by all the caregivers on duty. Conducting exercises with the children may be a nuisance but should be done to limit the chances of creating chaos and fright among the younger children. It would also give an all concerned a hand-on approach of how to handle an actual fire situation. Chapter 6, Equipment. There are a lot of different types of equipment needed is the childcare center to going to be set up in a professional manner. There is also the age consideration of the outline so that the corresponding equipment can be sourced. What you need. Deciding the age group the childcare center is going to cater to is an important start to make, as the equipment acquired would have to be suitable for the intended age group. Besides this, there is also a need to consider the curriculum that is going to be designed for the children attending the center. This curriculum will have some bearing on the type of equipment the center actually purchases. Being child-friendly and age-friendly are two criteria that should be complementing to the children using the equipment. Recently there have also been concerns about the materials that are used to make the equipment for the children. In the quest to ensure only approved materials are used, the owner of the childcare business should ensure all purchases are made from reputable stores which specifically cater to the various age groups. Toys and tools should be carefully selected as this could be viewed as dangerous under certain circumstances. Besides the danger element that should be given priority, the equipment chosen should also be interesting and enjoyable for the children attending the childcare center. Boring equipment would equal bored children who would then become difficult to handle and pacify. Therefore some research should be done to ensure the suitable and interesting choices are made. Other tools such as learning materials should also be colorful and interesting to ensure the teaching process is fun for both childcare giver and child. Using material that is attention-grabbing will always ensure the children's participation and excitement. Periodically checking the equipment to ensure it does not pose any danger to the children is an exercise worth carrying out. Chapter 7, Insurance and Staffing. Both these elements for a lot of legal connotations tagged to them, thus in the quest to ensure all rules and regulations pertaining to these issues are followed carefully there should be some research done into its requirements. Good points. Staffing laws for childcare centers require the establishment to take into account the child-staff ration practiced. The ideal ratios prescribed by the legal authorities are 3 children to 1 caregiver for those children under the age of 2 and 5 children to 1 for those between the ages of 2 to 3. Then, for the age group that is between the ages of 3 to 6, the ideal ration would be 8 children to 1 caregiver. There is also the need to ensure the caregivers some educational backgrounds that are fitting to the caregiving activity. Basic courses are offered by government bodies for those intending to venture into the caregiving business. Most parents intending to send their children to such facilities would definitely ask for some evidence of this training. Criminal background checks have also become a prerequisite for those intending to be a part of the child-giving exercise. Failing to ensure each employee has been checked for such backgrounds, the establishment runs the risk of being fined and closed down. Adequate insurance for childcare establishments is also another prerequisite that should be looked into. Getting suitable coverage is important and also a legal necessity. There are different types of coverage available and getting a reputable agent to consult with would be a good idea. These insurance policies would usually cover both the center and the children and staff in attendance. This is important when the damages are extensive or when medical coverage is needed. The premiums would also be according to the needs of the individual childcare facility, and this can normally be tailored to fit the budget and coverage needs. Chapter 8, Marketing. Marketing for any business endeavor involves some form of strategy. It is this strategy that will be the defining point for the development of the product and the business. Marketing, being able to identify the target market, is the first step that should be given due consideration, as the primary concern of the business engine is to get the target customer base to yield the interest and thus commit to the purchase of the service, or said product. For those seeking the services of a childcare facility, marketing tactics that portray the advantages and testimonial reports provided to back up such advantages will be well received by them. Marketing campaigns should ideally be centered on the portrayal of happy children in equally happy and welcoming surroundings. Having specifically designated days to be held as open to the public for walk-in tours is also another effective marketing strategy, as the interested parties will be able to get first-hand information, thus making their own informed decisions as to the merits of the establishment. Having pictures of past activities and happy children put up all around the center will also help to convince the visitors of the positive elements evident through the happy pictures. Wrapping up, quality control is also another important factor that both parents and government agencies will be concerned about. The style in which the center adopts, the quality of food prepared and served, the general comfortable conditions provided for the children's area are all items that will be given close scrutiny. Ideally, the center should be able to depict similar qualities of a home environment, if not better conditions, in order to entice the prospective parent to signing on the kids at the childcare center. Government endorsements will also only be given if the various standards laid out by law are adequately adopted and met. Please hit the subscribe button for the support of our channel and share our videos for more new upcoming content. We are very happy to create new ideas and review for everyone. God bless and happy listening.